Hi guys, this is our video for 8.5. 8.5, the beginning of it is pretty easy. All I'm asking you to do in the beginning of 8.5 here is to look at some data for problems 1 through 6. Okay, let me blow this up a little more. Okay, you're going to take for 1 through 6, you've got some data. You're going to put that into your L1 on your calculator. Okay, you're going to use your 5-number summary to create a box and whisker plot. Okay, then you're going to calculate the appropriate measure of center and spread. So guys, here's what that means. If you're going to look at the data, is it symmetric or is it skew? If it is symmetric, that means the mean is the best measure of central tendency, and your best measure of spread, oops, I didn't mean to write the word is. Your best measure of spread is standard deviation. And that's all you're going to calculate. You're not going to find the median and the IQR of symmetric data. Okay? If you make your box and whisker plot and it is skew, then I want you to state the median and find IQR. And that's it. Don't write down the mean. Don't write down the standard deviation. All these values are on your calculator. You're just picking and choosing which ones to write down. So for example, this data right here, and again, it's not perfectly symmetric, but it's not ridiculously lopsided. So we're going to say that this data is symmetric. So they talked about the mean and the standard deviation, because that goes together. These three things go together. And then they say that the mean is 4.75 and the standard deviation is 2.35. That's how you're going to approach problems 1 through 6. Okay? For problems 7 through 12, that's about stem and leaf plots. So I want to go back and talk about stem and leaf plots because that's something that I'm not sure what your exposure to those has been. So I got to fast forward through my slides here. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's some data that we're going to use, and here's what a stem and leaf plot looks like. Okay, I'm going to switch out data actually. I know this is super hard to read because the numbers are pretty small, but let's say this was our data. Okay, one thing that in order to make a stem and leaf plot, you really want your data to be in order from least to greatest. And your calculator will do this for you. So if I go over here and, okay, stat, edit. I'm going to clear out what's here. Well, I thought I was. Delete. Alright, the calculator is not being happy. It's being kind of grumpy, so we'll see how this goes. 62, enter, 99. Oh, that made 999. 86. 100. And so on. Oh, it made 1,000. Okay, I'm going to pause this while I enter the rest of the data because that's not very fun to watch. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so now that I have all the data in, making a stem and leaf plot, I really want my data to be sorted from least to greatest. So I'm going to hit stat. And now choice number 2 says sort A. That means ascending. Ascending is going to sort it from least to greatest. So I'm going to pick choice 2. Now, it's I have to tell it what to sort. It's not going to just automatically by default go to L1. So we're going to tell it to sort L1. Okay, I always close parentheses on the calculators, guys. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. And if you just close them all the time, then you never mess it up. Hit enter and it'll say done. And now when you go back to stat and edit, now your data is all rearranged for you in order from least to greatest. Okay, so how do we use this? What's a stem and leaf plot? Okay, a stem and leaf plot is where we separate each number in the data into the tens place and the ones place. Okay, so let me pull this out so we can see all the data. Okay, yeah, that should be all of it. Okay, so imagine that each value, let me blow this up a little more, that up a little more. I'm sorry, I need to just adjust things a little bit. There we go. Okay. Each value here is finally. Okay. So we got each value, it has a tens place and a ones place. So we would make 2 columns and a title. Okay, so student grades. The number 16 would be represented by a 1 on this side, a 6 on this side. Okay, now there's no numbers in the 20s, but we have to put it. There's no numbers in the 30s, but we have to put it. Okay, there are values in the 40s, so we put a 4 on this side, and then to represent 42, we put a 2 on this side. The 4 is the stem, the 2 is the leaf. 44, I'm just going to put this 4 represents this 4, and this 4 represent the ones place. 49, I'm basically just putting the ones places for each of these. Okay, so 42, 44, 49, and 49. That's how you would read that set of data. Then I've got 51, 54, 62, 63, 67, 67, and then on the second picture I don't have any grades in the 70s, so I'll just put a 7 with nothing after it. 8 would be 80, and another 80, and an 82, an 82, an 86. Then in the 90s I have a 91, a 99, a 99, and then I have 2 100s. So 10 would end up being my stem for that, and the zeros would be the leaves. Okay, so that's how that data would be represented. And then I would look at this and I would say, okay, how does this data look? And I would say that data looks fairly symmetric. Okay, so if our data on this looks symmetric, remember that means we would calculate the mean and we would calculate standard deviation. Okay, mean and standard deviation. All right, then on your homework, you're going to say, well, Mrs. Andrews, our stem and leaf plots don't look like that. They look like they have 2 sides. Okay, that's called a double stem and leaf plot. So I'm going to pull up another set of data here. Here's another set of data, but I've already put it in order least to greatest, so we don't have to go through that in the calculator again. Now, a double stem and leaf plot will have the stems in the middle. And I'll draw a line on this side, and I will put more leaves on the left-hand side. Okay? Now, I don't have any values until I get to 53. So 53, the 5 is still the stem right here. And so 53 gets it looks backwards. Okay? It looks like 35. But remember that these are the stems in the middle. Okay, those are the first values in the number. So 53 is represented by this stem of 5 and then the 3 as a leaf on the left-hand side. Then we're going to have 74. So we're reading them the numbers backwards. 74, 81, 82, 82, 86, 90, 92, 93, 95, 96, 96, 96, 97, 98, 99, and then 103. Now the data on this side, if I look at its distribution, is skew. Remember, that means we're going to calculate the median and the IQR. So this is what you're doing on your homework. You're not making stem and leaf plots. You are just looking at the data and determining if it's skew or symmetric. They could both be skew, they could both be symmetric, or you could have one of each. But you're going to calculate, if they have one of each, you're going to calculate separate things. You're going to calculate median and IQR, or mean and standard deviation. Now, on your homework, you're going to, let me pull this up. So here's a homework question. You're given the data. Okay, when you're working on your calculator, okay, first of all, I can see that, let me erase this. I can see that, gosh, this data is very skew for data set 1, and this data on data set 2 is also very skew. So definitely the measure that's going to be appropriate is median and IQR because of the skew. And you'll notice they calculated the median and the IQR and the median and the IQR for each set of data. But my point is you're doing each set of data separately. Okay? So when I go to do calculator work, okay, I'm just going to cover up data set 2. Remember, you can clear your list by hitting 4, L1, enter, and it'll say done. Okay, so stat, edit. Okay, so 0 as a stem means these are single digit numbers. 3, 5, 7, 8. Then we have 1 as a stem. That means 14. Whoops. 14, 18. Then we have 2 as a stem. Then we have 3 as a stem. Okay, and then from there you're doing your stat, calc, 1 variable stats. And because we picked median, the median is right here, it's 14. And remember that your IQR is 22, Q3, take away Q1, 6. So 22 take away 6 is 16. So that's where those, well, did I make a mistake somewhere? Data set 1, it says the median is 11. I made a typo. 3, 5, 7, 8, 14, 18, Yep, I have 22 in there twice. Oopsies. Delete. Teachable moment. Remember to double check your list before you leave. So let's do this again. Stat, calc, one variable stats. Ah, there we go. Now we get something that matches the answer key. The median is 11, and then 20 minus 6 is 14. So data set 1, 11 for the median, and IQR is 14. Now if I was going to do the other set, stat, we'll clear our list. Which list are we clearing? L1. Okay, stat, edit. Okay, remember 0 as a stem means these are single digit numbers. 3, 4, 6, no, I'm hitting plus signs. 3, 4, 6, 9. Okay, 1 as a stem means 11, 14, 15, then 25, then 32. Okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 data points in my list. I could have saved myself some trouble if I counted my data points, checked it before I left the screen. Okay, stat, calc, one variable stats. Okay, here we go. And the median is 11 again, and the IQR is, let's see, 20 minus 5 is 15. Now I want to stress that the example shows median and IQR, but that's because our data, again, is skew. Okay, if we look at another problem down here, if we look at number 8, this data on both sides is symmetrical. So on this case, being that my data is symmetrical, I'm going to find the mean and standard deviation. Okay, those are the things I'm going to find for each data set individually. I'm going to do it 2 times. Once for data set 1 and once for data set 2. Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.